Hello and welcome to our patched review of Death's Door, the latest game from Acid Nerve, from Devolver Digital, and a big shout out to our friends locally at Power Up PR for providing us copies. I'm joined by Matto Phillips of Patched fame. How are you, mate?
I got one. I got an early game for once.
You got an early game and we're reviewing stuff?
I feel special.
You're in the big leagues now, mate.
Oh, no.
But who knows? This might be the first of one of these things we do for a while.
Could be the first and last time I get a free game. Who knows?
Could be.
No.
Don't screw it up, all right? Jade and Doug, if you're watching, just let us know if he was good, bad, or otherwise, and if he's pretty shit, I'll never do this with him again, all right? So, as I mentioned, and as if you're watching the YouTube version of this, it's abundantly clear based on the layout that we are talking about Death's Door, the new game, as I said, from Acid Nerve, the team who did Titan Souls in the past, and it's
11 o'clock already.
Yeah. So this is going up for the embargo, 11 o'clock. Make sure to go check out the Player 2 website where Jess has put together a review for the game there. There's a Player 2 Plays. It's also live on the YouTube channel as well if you want to see the game in action. But we're sitting down to have a bit of a review discussion about the game. Probably only a 20-30 minute long thing, I'd imagine, most of these different episodes, but we'll see where the conversation goes. Matto, we should probably begin by kind of disclosing what we were playing it on and how far through it we've got. So how far did you get through the game? What were you playing it on?
I was playing it on the Xbox soon-to-be mini fridge.
The Series X?
Series X. And I've just gotten past the second boss.
So it's about halfway.
I'm about 6 hours in.
Yeah.
So I'm midway.
Actually, you're probably even a tiny bit further than halfway. I know, like there's more than just 4 bosses, but the frequency towards the end, they kind of fly along at the very end there.
All I'll say is that I've just got into some sort of town, and my favourite character's there.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm sure we'll talk about that favourite character.
When I say the favourite character yet, that could be for later.
Yeah, who knows? For me, I've completely finished the game. I finished it in just under 12 hours. That was with a little bit of kind of running around and trying to do some side activities and all those sorts of things.
Yeah,
but there's
souls.
Yeah, trying to collect a few souls
Soul
and all
collecting.
those sorts of things and farm some XP equivalents and all those sorts of things. But there's five bosses in the game, or 5 kind of core bosses in the game. I guess there's the couple that you fight at the very, very beginning that probably don't count, like the big castle thing.
I'll call them mini bosses because you see, you get a few other knights and all this other stuff you come up against.
Like, I guess we could maybe count the castle as one because it gives you that big plant at the beginning because it gives you a giant soul, which is one of the kind of key parts of the whole story.
Oh yeah, the very start. I was just like, what? Hey, what? I was thinking, what?
And maybe we start at the very start. What did you think about the fact that the very first thing they throw at you is a boss encounter?
Yeah, just straight out of the gun, just bang, done, boss, go get it.
Yeah,
it's like pretty much from the start. Because we'll just go through the background. You are, was it a reaper?
You're a crow, yeah. That's kind of acting as a reaper. They kind of reaping souls, like what the Grim Reaper does.
Souls.
Yeah,
and his current assignment was to get this soul.
Yeah.
And then you go, you fight it, you successfully do it, and then this is not really spoiled. This is like the first 5 minutes of the game.
Yeah.
That we're talking about. And then another crow comes and hits you over the head. And that's where the journey begins.
Yeah, you get smacked over the head. It takes the giant soul that you'd collected, which was kind of your job, and they do emphasize as you head out. And sorry, I didn't mention before, I'm also playing on the Series X, but I've played a bit on the PC as well. You go chasing after this grey crow that's kind of smacked you over the head and taken the giant soul, because the whole thing, and it's emphasized to you when you're in the commission, where basically all the crows kind of work from, that if you fail,
which is the funny thing, is just your crow's got, even when you start the menu, your crow's there sitting at a desk.
The mundane shit that you do.
Sword on the desk.
When you're reaping souls. But they emphasize to you as you head out that, if you, for as long as you haven't completed your mission, you can die. And whereas if you've kind of got the soul you're supposed to get and you're off the clock, the crows are immortal for the time being. But that all goes pear-shaped when this grey crow steals the giant soul you collected. He throws it at what's referred to as Death's Door, because there was, as they kind of outline it story-wise, there was a soul that the Grey Crow was supposed to get, and it escaped through that door. And so, as a result, he's kind of doomed to die.
No, he got stuck there.
Yeah, and had kind of given up. So when you kind of appear on the scene, and you find a giant soul, the Crow thinks that's an opportunity to break the door down. It doesn't work, and then as a result, okay, champ, go out there and do what I couldn't do, which is take down all these other giant souls.
Do my work for me. That's pretty much.
So, I mean, the core concept is there's nothing super deep and meaningful to it, but it's cool. I liked it in that sense. There are certainly a few little kinks in the tail as you get towards the end, as the story all kind of comes together. Nothing that's necessarily wildly unpredictable, but kind of cool nonetheless. You meet some pretty cool characters along the way. But I guess the main... Actually, let's touch on that now, because you mentioned you got a favourite character.
Yes, my favourite character. You meet him first, dungeon, boss, whatever you want to call. He's just a guy with a human body and a pot for a head.
He's just slightly off the shot here if you're watching the video version, kind of in the bottom right, just underneath me. But
yeah, his head's cut off. Its head's cut off, and his name, the greatest name ever given to a character, his name's Pothead.
he was my favourite as well.
I just laughed. I thought Pothead. I thought that is a brilliant name.
Right on the nose.
Right on the nose, because he has a pot for a head, and he tells you every time you meet him, talk to him. He talks about how he has a pot for a head and how he got his pot for a head.
Yeah, his mum, the Urn Witch, transformed his head into a pot. And
he always asks you for soup. Do you want some soup?
Yeah.
Like, no, I don't want soup out of your head.
They've got some quirky personalities. I like them. It's not too on the nose. Like, it's not ridiculous. You're not looking going, what the fuck's wrong with this character or anything like that. But they're still, like, they've got a good personality. They're fun. They're not, it's not too excessive. But I guess the main thing that we probably need to delve into is the actual gameplay itself. There's a lot of people kind of drawing comparisons to some old school Zeldas, like A Link to the Past, for example. It's not out of the realms that some people might even think Souls and those sort of things, though I personally wouldn't bundle it in that category myself. Were there any other comparisons you could make before we kind of dive into the finer details of how it all plays?
The only thing I was going to say was Ori, but only because of sort of how you get to areas where you teleport through a door.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. In terms of some of those
really
border systems, yeah, because otherwise Ori's a 2D side scroller versus this, which is think your isometric, kind of 2.5D isometric style. Again, Zelda, Link to the Past sort of perspective, but it plays real well. Like, it's fast, it's fluid.
It's pretty much a game where the game pretty much is you don't stand still. It's sort of like Doom. You just do not sit still.
Yeah.
You just move around and just fight.
And the enemies do a pretty good job of forcing you to move around as well. Like, it's not a case of if you stand still, you'll get shot from range or something like that. Like, they're coming at you all the time. Yeah.
You got enemies that will jump at you or roll at you or throw grenades, bloody magic things at you. But the other thing is, you can play tennis with them and serve back,
which I guess is the Zelda style thing.
Which is, well, it is, but it doesn't get any quicker. It's just you just hit it back. That's it.
You can sort of use it. Go after them,
and so that thing too. You can use it to your advantage as well. So if they give you some magic, you can hit it to another enemy and take them out.
Yeah. You can be a little bit strategic like that.
Yeah, because I did that a few times by accident, I should say. It was just whacking like flames out of the way, and then I accidentally hit another person. A spell back. And then they fell in the water. So I just thought, oh, that's a great strategy right there. Yeah, just out of nowhere. I'll take that.
I mean, if anyone's kind of seeing if anyone's watching for those watching the YouTube version, I should say, like, you can see the sword that the crow has. It's a. Oh, right. I mean, it looks awesome in action.
I thought you were going to say there's a dog in the background, but
there is a dog in the background. My dog is trotting around in the background, but
doing circles.
Yeah, she's doing circles, trying to find herself a comfy spot, I think. But the sword there that you can see, like, it looks awesome in action. Visually, it looks great. And it does really stand out. But yeah, I mean, I guess A Link to the Past, any of those kind of top-down Zeldas are I guess that's the best comparison that we can make in terms of how it looks. But
Yeah, I think
it is more frenetic, and that Doom comparison is actually a really good one because you can't afford to stand still. You have to keep moving. You can be strategic within that. It doesn't mean you have to be slow, but or even ultra fast, but you just can't stand still.
Yeah.
And the way that they kind of throw, and again in kind of a Doom fashion, I guess I hadn't really thought of Doom too much until you suggested it there. But like even the combination of enemies they throw at you. So yeah, they might throw someone who kind of runs and jumps at you. Then they'll mix that with someone who has some sort of ranged attack, and then there's something else there that's more of a heavy that you might need to break its shield, and then you can actually lay some damage on it. Like they've got all the pairings of these enemies coming at you at the right time. And so no combat encounter necessarily feels the same, even though they are in a lot of senses. It doesn't feel the same. You might know how to beat this certain enemy, and you'll know how to beat this certain enemy when they're all on their own. And in fact, once you get them on your own, if you're on the last one, it's usually pretty straightforward. Even some of the toughest ones, even when you've only got one quarter of health left, they're usually pretty straightforward to beat at that point. But when they're all coming at you, you got to try and work. Okay, I need to get to this guy first, but this one's rushing at me. This guy's gonna one of these mages is gonna spawn behind me and try and shoot at me from behind. Like that's all.
Oh,
they're all that
cow thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
So they're all kind of coming at you at the same time, which makes things all the more challenging. But I really liked it though.
I did too.
What did you think of
both yours and my favourite E3 preview from Devolver Digital?
Yeah, true. That was it was our big.
Both you and me agreed on it. That was our favourite game of that showcase, I should say.
Yeah, and it holds up.
It still holds up. Yeah,
the final product is awesome. What did you think about? And I guess while we're on the on the combat thing, what did you think about Avarice, which is this? It's almost this gauntlet thing that you got to do towards the end of each dungeon. Do you remember what we're discussing there? So you kind of it's when you kind of have your big Zelda moment where you found your big chest.
Yeah, then you get eaten. Yeah,
you get eaten by the chest. You fall in, and you've got to, in order to get out the other side, which eventually gets you some new power, whether it's like a fireball that you can throw, or the bombs, or the hook shot that you get later on.
I knew there was a hook shot.
Yeah, there's always a hook shot, right?
I was looking at it going, that looks hook shotty.
Yep, you're 100% right.
I already know what the thing I'm looking for is. It's a hook shot. I was looking at it going, yeah, that's a hook shot for sure.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. But like when you get into those sequences, they throw the kitchen sink at you from everything that you've dealt with up to that point. And
just jump in and then just like bang. It's like
they're harder than some of the bosses, I felt.
Oh yeah, it's like you have about 5, like nearly 10 enemies at once, and remember at one stage I had like some beetles.
Yep.
Like there was a whole swarm of beetles coming for me. Then there was some wizards throwing flames at me. Then you had some plants. Then this other weird wizard I'd never seen before.
The ones that kind of like throw the toxic gas stuff at you.
Yes, stinky smoke. I was like, oh, this is absolute madness.
It gets pretty intense.
Yes, and also
and then again, some of the heavies or whatever the case is, and you got to go through 4 rounds of that before you can actually successfully escape. I'll note that the music is amazing in that. The music in that Avarice thing is just, and I'm sure we'll touch on the music properly at some point because it's one of the best scores that I've heard in a game. But in Avarice in particular, just the whole thing comes together perfectly, from the combat to even just the way they've got it set dressed, because it's all just basically like a very small illuminated area and then just black all around it, and these things are just great, like they're spawning all over the place coming after you.
The lighting area is the shape of a keyhole.
Oh, I didn't notice that actually.
Didn't you?
The shape of the arena, or like the lit up shape is
lit up here. Yeah, I think it's the shape of a keyhole.
Oh, okay. You're probably right. I can't say that I'd noticed that. I was too busy fighting for my life and being terrified by the whole thing.
That's a fair point, because I would have noticed it either if I just looked and went, oh, that's the keyhole. Just then saw about 400 enemies come at me. It was like, oh, don't even worry about that.
Run.
Just run away and fight.
Any other thoughts on the combat side of things?
No, I liked it. I really did.
Again, like the range stuff, so the powers as you get them kind of complements that further. Whether it's the fireball or hook shot or bombs.
It's nothing complicated either. It's just slash and throw your magic or your bomb or your
dodge.
Arrows, dodge. That's it.
You'd be
There's nothing
dodging a
else.
lot.
There's no jumping. There's just rolling. No jumping required.
Yeah, it all just works. It's smooth. And it's pretty clear when you've stuffed up as well. I died plenty of times across normal encounters, boss encounters. Matto's frozen, so hopefully the video catches up with you in a sec. I died plenty of times through a host of different encounters, and despite all that, like, I knew it was always my fault. That was kind of the key. It was always my fault when I died. I didn't. There we go. You've caught up to us again. I knew I'd like, whenever I died. I don't know if you heard all that. Whenever I died, I knew it was always me. It wasn't that the game was being unfair, or that there was or the way, like, they threw too many enemies at me. Though sometimes it did feel like that. It clearly wasn't. Like, it was like I didn't do the dance properly. I guess similar to what we talk about when it comes to Doom. It's not that they're being unfair or anything like that. The Marauders are kind of unfair in Doom Eternal. Here it's just like the right combination, and you just didn't play it right, and it extends to the bosses too. Like, it's usually pretty clear pretty early on how you're supposed to beat them. Like, they telegraph their moves fairly well, not always super consistently, but fairly well. But if you die, it's your own fault. It's you didn't execute when it mattered.
It's also too, when you die a lot, you start to take notice of those enemies and what their actions are, which I was starting to do. You had those little monsters that sort of try to hug you, like that's their attack.
Oh yeah, I know the ones.
It's sort of like, and then they do, and you same with your knights, they might swing twice instead of not once, which I got caught out a lot. And then there's like the arrow people, their arrows flash when they're about to release, and then you got I call it the cow arrow people, because it looks like a cow. They shoot like 5 or 6, and then you can go, right, I can attack that thing.
Yeah, there's always visual cues. They always show you, like, indicate to you what's going to happen before it happens. The final boss maybe slightly less so, but even then you could still get a bit of a feel for it. Like, you could still work it out. It was just a matter of executing, and that's probably the other thing. It's not. Yes, they telegraph things. Yes, it can feel hard at times, and yes, there's a degree of you need to learn what it is that they do, but you need to respond to that. And I think you're like, when you die, it's because you just didn't respond in a timely fashion, or maybe you tried to bite off too much. When you finally chose to get on the offensive, and you've dodged the moves, and you've run in, and you've taken a few swipes, and you've gone for one too many, which gives them enough time to smack you back.
Back in the face.
Yeah, like, it's still there's the to and fro, and like knowing how much you can counter versus how much you need to. Okay, I've got my 2 hits in. I need to get out of here before they take a big swing. And they telegraph it, so you know what's going to happen. You've just got to resist the temptation to get too aggressive.
Yeah, just don't get too greedy. That's all you got to do.
Yeah. The world itself is really cool, like really well designed. I love how, especially as you get towards the end of each dungeon, but even in the kind of graveyard world there, the kind of main hub, everything kind of works back on itself, no matter how, like, there's gates that are blocking pathways or any of those sort of things, but once you kind of take the long way to unlock it, it then creates a pretty linear straight line path that, like, when you decide if you decide to go back to a door to go cash in your souls, or even just die and you need to make your way back, those pathways are unlocked, and you can just go almost in a straight line straight up to where you were before, so you're not having to do 20 minutes of navigation to get back. You can do it in 2 or 3.
Yeah, if you desperately need health, you can just go back in your door and then go back out. Is another way you can do it. But yeah, it's sort of like the same with Jedi Fallen Order. Like, you take the long way around, take you about 30 minutes, and then you open a shortcut, and then it just takes 2 minutes to go to where you were.
Yeah, once that shortcut's opened.
I think the one thing, well, it's not one bad negative, but the one thing I wish it had was a map. Because there were times where especially in the
forest region,
forest region, I got lost and I had no idea where I was going. And then eventually I magically just found my way back where I was supposed to be. But if I had not even a map, or just even some guide or anything like that, would have been
Yeah, I'd agree. That one region, and obviously, yeah, you've only finished the first two, and that was the second one. That's probably the one region in the game where it's really quite open, and there's a lot of space, and it all being kind of a forest region, it all kind of looks a little bit the same. So,
especially with that sort of second boss, and with that second boss, you're sort of going in and out, back into the forest, and you're going back inside,
and swamp and all that. Yeah.
And then you might fall down a hole, and then you realize you've just come back to the start where you were. You just figured out, going, why the hell did I get back here?
Yeah, I'm with you on that. A map would have been handy. Another thing that I guess we may as well get some little gripes out of the way now, because that one, and then probably my other point here about responsiveness is probably the only two concerns. And when I mean responsiveness, I don't mean in terms of combat, because we've already mentioned that, and that works like a dream. I mean, when you're trying to interact with a character, or you're looking to read a sign, or you're looking to climb a ladder or something like that, I felt like you'd go up to the things and you'd have to mash Y? I'm trying to remember now. Was it Y to...
Y,
yeah, the Y button.
I never had that problem.
Oh, see, I found that a lot, where it was almost like I just wasn't standing in quite the right spot. So I'd be mashing it a whole bunch of times before he'd finally jump onto the ladder, or he'd finally start talking to the person.
Okay. No, I never had that problem.
Yeah,
maybe I just never paid attention to it.
Maybe you just stand in the right spots. You just know how to talk to characters or climb ladders, and I don't.
Or maybe since you've told me that now, I'm just going to notice it even more now.
Possibly. It could be that.
It's like, no, why do I notice this now?
Oh, well. Let me know when you get back to it then, because that was one, probably my only real gripe. The map thing, I get it, but it was only really one region that causes the issue. Any other thoughts on kind of that gameplay side of things before we kind of move into some of the, I guess, presentational components, the visuals and the audio?
No, don't think I've got
plays
any
like
extra
a dream.
add-on. Yeah, it plays good. That's all I can say. Because it's one of those games you're not sure if it's going to be too hard or too easy. I think in the end...
And it can be both.
It can be both, but I think in the end they got it right. The combat is...
It's balanced well.
It is.
So on the visual, like the presentation side of things, I guess maybe we'll start with actually the soundtrack and whatnot, because we've already discussed that and some of the... Like, I said it before, I think it's definitely one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a game in a long, long time, maybe even the best ever. Like, it all comes together perfectly. Like, there's the right song for every set piece. The Avarice one is amazing. And I thought for a while it might have just been in my head. And then my wife comes at one point, and this was when I was at Avarice at one stage there, and I was getting my ass kicked, so I was doing the encounter a few times. And like, she straight up comes dancing into the room. Like, I wonder what she's listening to. And then I noticed she didn't have any AirPods in. It was because she was getting into the music of that whole, Avarice combat encounter thing. Like, she was willing me to die over and over and over so she could keep listening to it. She was having a great time with the whole thing. So that was kind of another point that for me really solidified. Yeah, this music's amazing. Like, if someone's just walking in the room, no context whatsoever, jamming like it's just their favorite music, something in their ears, and it's not. It's like, I've never heard this before, but it's awesome. Let me keep playing it.
I think that was the upside. I think to me that was the upside of dying, because I thought, oh well, at least I get to hear that music again.
Yeah. Every
time I was like, oh, this music's. I agree, the music's absolutely fantastic.
If there's a soundtrack for the game, I'm buying it. Like,
as I say, I never really paid too much attention to soundtracks in games. It's very rare that I pay attention to soundtracks, but this straight
Doom's
off
maybe an exception for you.
Yeah. What's that?
I said Doom's maybe an exception for you, because
Doom and The Witcher 3. They'll probably be the other two. But this was like straight away out of the gut, or out of the bat, whatever you want to say. Like, straight up I said, like, oh, I like this music.
Yeah. It hits hard.
Sometimes you get music in games where you go, oh, this music's so annoying.
Yeah, you just want to dial it right back, or mute it, or even just pop your headphones in and listen to a podcast or something like that. Like, but this is not one of those. It's punchy.
No.
And even kind of more somber ones, like as you're just kind of navigating the world, especially that the graveyard, that main region, like, it's a really mopey sort of tune, but it works. It fits perfectly. It doesn't make me feel dejected. Like, they haven't kind of hit the emotional chord in that sense, but I don't think they want to either. They're just setting the scene. It works perfectly. This is definitely one of the best soundtracks I've heard in a game.
Oh, same. It's up there.
There's no voice acting, so we don't really have to address that side of things. It's all text in that space. The writing is good. I did get a little kick out at the very, very beginning. They didn't go for too many punchlines. Obviously, Pothead, the joke is Pothead. And there's a few others that have some funny moments.
When you get your first big soul, there's a great moment there.
Which one was that?
It's like, oh, the big boss, like yeah, I don't know, you call him the CEO of the place.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he's got his big cup. He's like, oh, you got your first soul. Well, let me just get this for a sec.
Just a very, pathetic, like the condescending clap. Yeah, good point.
And also the treasure chest as well. You think, yes. And your treasure chest as well, like, oh, cool, what am I going to get? And then I got eaten. I was like, oh, what the hell? What is this?
You're confused for a second, and then you're panicking moments after once the Avarice music kicks in. Yes. But also, like they went for like one punchline at the very beginning there with the like a very basic, almost dad joke style with the early bird gets the worm one. Do you remember that? Where they just
yes,
like,
I do.
Just never mind.
Yeah, because you're late to work or whatever. He's like the early bird gets worm, but you're not. All these like,
and then he realizes he's got himself into a mess, and he's just like, oh, never mind. Trying to explain his own joke to a crow that eats worms. Like, I get it. Even early on, I'm like, okay, there's a little, but they don't go over the top. In fact,
no,
I'd say humor is very much not a priority for them. But when they do go for it, it hits the mark. And whether it is just the jokes like that, or just the design of characters like Pothead, which you just can't help but laugh at, especially when his name's Pothead.
And he has a pot for a head.
He has a pot for a head, and there's not a marijuana joke at all there. The whole thing is just his name's
talks
Pothead,
about soup,
and you make your own jokes.
He just talks about soup all day.
And then there's the visuals. The game looks amazing. Obviously, we mentioned like the way the sword kind of slices through, and that looks phenomenal as well. But I mean, they're batting well above their league here.
Oh, yeah.
No
when
offense
you
to Acid Nerve, but this looks amazing.
No, even you go to your office space area, you just look at this dark, gloomy, depressing place. You like,
black and white.
Oh, I guess black and white. Then you just got a crow there smoking a cigarette, just following you around and going, what are you doing? A crow with a cigarette. Haven't you got some work to do?
Yeah. But no, they don't, apparently. It's all on you. You have to be the one that saves the world here.
Just no one else wants to do anything. Just sit behind their desk.
Deadbeat. Sorry, we don't have a job today, so we're just going to kick back and look. I can appreciate that. As someone we're all people in lockdown working from home at the moment. I can appreciate sitting at your desk and doing nothing. I've done a bit of that today. But, lazy shits. You're meant to be taking people's souls and killing people and shit. Go on, get to it. But yeah, I mean, the game looks gorgeous. Yeah, from the commission to the different regions that you navigate. I guess the only criticism, kind of going back to what we spoke about with the map before, with that forest region, is that it does look a little bit the same. It all looks good, but it does look a little bit the same, so it does get disorienting.
Yeah, with one another.
Yeah.
Like a real forest, if you get lost.
Yeah, so I guess that's a compliment.
Maybe that's what they're going for.
Maybe.
Who knows? Just lost with a bunch of weird creatures and plants and everything.
Yeah, okay, maybe it was by design. Cheeky bastards.
We don't know.
Any other thoughts on kind of that presentation side, whether it's the soundtrack, whether it's the visuals, anything like that? Because otherwise, I think we're on to closing thoughts.
Also, we can talk about all the weapons you get.
Oh, yeah, true. There's a few to collect.
I mean, your little sword looks great. The hammer, your thunder hammer, I call it the thunder hammer, looks great. And I don't know what the umbrella's for, but hey.
I never use the umbrella. And I think there's more. There's a couple more as well that I didn't get.
I haven't got them yet. Yeah,
I didn't find them yet. So they're not essential things. I didn't find them. I'm not even sure if the thunder hammer was necessarily essential either.
No. All it does is just, if you hold up your little,
so you go for your power strike with the trigger.
If they're within a distance, they all get zapped.
Yeah. And if there's a few of them all close, like you hit the first one with the thing, and it kind of chains them in a cool way. So that's kind of handy in that sense as well. But yeah, I mean, I don't think they're essential. 95% of the time I was using the sword. There was a few times where maybe I'd be down like 1/4 of my health, and so I'd use the hammer so I could just create a little bit of extra range. Like I just use the electricity to get them and not be within range of a big swing or something like that. You know, I've made a ton of progress. I can't screw this up on literally the last guy, so I'll just like use the hammer and kind of cheese it a little bit. But it's not cheesing in the way that most people kind of use it as like a negative thing. It's all just strategy.
thing.
Yeah, it was just strategic, and it was survival. You're trying to hang on for dear life. You'd earned it at that point.
Hey, when you got like 3 big knights chasing you around a pond, you're going to use that hammer.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. So yeah, I mean that's kind of it really. Like big surface level thoughts, closing thoughts, I should say. For me, this thing's probably my game of the year at this point. That's how good it is.
For me, it will be my second.
Oh yeah, what's it behind for you?
I don't think it's going to be Monster Hunter Rise at this point.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, they're all worthy games in that space, but
it sure as hell beats Mario Golf, so that's not a hard thing to do.
Congratulations, Acid Nerve! You've beaten Mario Golf Power Rush or Super Rush or whatever they called it.
Rush. I don't even know what it's called.
Mario Golf. It's got to be faster than the real game.
Super Rush.
It's got to be faster than the real game. So
and they're not wrong there because you can finish it in no time. It's done.
Compliments Nintendo.
I played it for 2 hours and I haven't played it since.
So as we wrap it up, the game is available on Xbox. It is available on PC. So Xbox One, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, PC.
Oh, I said sex.
Not on Game Pass, but presumably might be at one point. Not on PlayStation. That's unfortunate as a PlayStation fanboy.
Oh dear.
Hopeful that maybe I get to play it there one day. Like if they put it on PlayStation, the folks at Acid Nerve, I'm going to look straight down this camera and give you the Sam Newman open palm point. If you put this on,
Don't do it.
If you put this on PlayStation, I will platinum the game. There's no doubt. Like that's how in love with this game I am. Like I hope
there's like a near impossible achievement that you can't
I've taken a bit of a
get.
look through the achievements. They didn't seem too ridiculous.
Actually,
I should note that there are a few things you can do after, like end game bits and pieces. There's a key that you get after the final encounter. I won't kind of get too specific with that, but it opens a very specific gate, which you climb up, you smack a bell, and it kind of almost creates like a Dark World sort of effect. And there's some random things going on that I hadn't seen in the game up till that point. So they're still going to require a little bit of exploration. Maybe some people who are doing guides for some other outlets might be able to help me a little bit there with what some of these things do and how you're supposed to interact with them. But like there's plenty to do even beyond completion of the game, which I should shout out to them as well. When I did finish, like I said, just short of 12 hours, I was at like 79% completion or something like that. So that's 21% still to do, whether it's collecting some of the crystals to improve your health or magic, which actually is that enough? Like, did you actually collect enough of those crystals to boost your health? Oh no, you're probably not far enough through it yet.
I was saying, I haven't even got that. I've found some. I've looked at others. I've gone, how do I get that? And I don't think I have the right
tool yet.
I need the goddamn grappling hook for that.
I mean, I finished the game with 2 of each, and you need 4 to actually improve your health or magic. So, like, they're clearly not essential. You can get through to the end of the game without improving your health at all, or your magic at all. I'd be curious to see how much of an impact they do have, and I might go around and chase them all down at some point once some guides are out there, so I can fast track a little bit of that stuff and not waste too much time exploring. But got to give them a little shout out. Yeah, for me, this is game of the year or very, very close to it.
It's top 2 for me.
That's fair. So again, as we wrap things up, thank you to Power Up PR for providing us a copy of the game. You can go check out Jess's review on the website, player2.net.au. A whole bunch of other reviews and bits and pieces there as well, but she's got her review of Death's Door available now. There's a Player 2 Plays up on the channel, which is me kind of showing you through the earlier stages of the game, so go check that out as well. Certainly kind of recording that after having finished the game. I went back and dealt with some of those bosses, those 2 early bosses, and I was like, this is pretty easy for the most part, forgetting that of course I've been there and bested the hardest part of the game now. I've done the hardest part of the game now, so everything else feels a little bit easy in comparison. So go check out the Player 2 Plays, go check out Jess's review, visit the website for a whole bunch more, and then we're on Twitter. Matto.
That's Matto_Phil.
Paul James Games for me. Thank you again to everyone, to Acid Nerve, to Power Up PR, to Devolver Digital for making this happen. And who knows, let us know what your comments are on the game that's available now, or in like an hour as of when we post this. Let us know what you're thinking of the game in the comments. Let us know if we should do more of these as well. We're kind of eyeing off these sorts of things for various games in the future. We'd love. I know there's a few people that are keen on talking about some various games over the course of the next few months. Let us know if you want to see more of these, and we'll see what we can do.
Well, this could be my last one. We never know.
Well, yeah, again, Jaden Doug, if you've made it this far and Matto hasn't given you the shits, can you just sound off
Doug.
and just shoot me an
No
email,
Doug.
guys, and let me know.
Or Jaden.
Let
Doug,
me know
no,
what you think.
don't do it.
If Matto's blown his one and only chance with early access codes, then just let us know.
If you do let me more do it, Jaden Doug, I'll put this as my game of the year.
Oh, there we go, done.
Knock off
can be bought.
Rise. I can be bribed. I mean, convinced.
No one in games media or commentary has ever bought or bribed. Let's be 100% clear on that.
No,
that's it.
Of course not.
Go pick up Death's Door. It is out momentarily, let's just say. Most likely for most of you, it's available now. So go and check it out. And thanks a lot for watching.
And all hail Pothead.
Oh, Potty.
Oh, Potty.